Hi everyone, welcome back to Java class. In today's session, we will learn a very important concept that is known as serialization and deserialization of an objects. So let us understand what is it. In Java programming language, the serialization is the process of converting one object into a byte stream. And later this byte stream can be reconstructed back into a copy of an object. This process is known as deserialization. Serialization and deserialization is very helpful to implement the concept of remote method invocation concepts, where you remotely call objects which are stored in one machine and you are communicating across a distributed networks. This process is very useful in distributing computing, where objects are created by one Java virtual machine and used by another Java virtual machine, generally present on the different host. So how to just perform these operations? These operations can be performed by using two different class. The first is the object input stream class. Second one is object output stream class. Both classes came into the categories of byte stream class. So let us understand with the help of a programming examples how to perform or how to just write object on the file and how to just read object from a file. Let us move to the Eclipse. Okay, so here is a program. We have a class person that have some data like name of a person, the age of a person, and the password of a person. So let me just add a constructor to set all the fields of this class. Go to the source and generate constructor using all the fields, right, which help us to set the field of a class person. So let me just save this program, and inside this package serialization, let me just create a new class. The class is writing objects, right? Writing objects, and it is a main class. So let me just create an object of a person class. Person p1 is equal new person, and I will pass the name of a person, like the name I can write here, James. The age I can pass like 28. The password I can pass in the form of string, that is James123. So this is a constructor. Let me just display this object. This is out, and I will just display this object p1, and I will run this program. Let's see what is the output of it. So here we go. You can see it is showing kind of address of this number. So let me just move to the person class, and I will add a toString function in order to display the data of an object. So generate toString, I will just click on generate with all the fields. So here I have overridden a toString function which help us to display the data of a particular class. So you will go to writing objects, you will just run it, and you will see what is the output. So here we go. This is the data of a class. So let me just show you how will you just write this particular object data. So here we have object P1 and its data is like name is James, age is 28, password is James123. So how to just perform writing operations of objects, or how will you store this object on the file? Let me help you to understand. So let us add a try with resource, and inside it, in order to perform some writing operations of object, you will use object output stream class. You will create an object out is equal new object output stream. Inside it, you will pass an object of new file output stream. For here, you will just write the name of a file. For example, the file name is person.dat. I am using to store the object data. So your file extension will be a DAT for storing the data. So here I have created an object of object output stream in order to perform some writing operations of object on the file. And here this file output stream will create a file person.dat to store the data. So let us complete this try block, and this will throw an exceptions. You can add a close surrounding with catch. So it will throw two exceptions. The first one is the file not found exception. Second one is the input output exceptions. So in order to perform some writing operations, I can just display the object. Like I will just copy this part from here and I will display here, and then I will just write this object using an object out dot write object. So right now we are just writing some object on the file. So you will call a function write object, or inside it you will pass an object of a person class. Then you will just display some message like object is serialized and return on file, right? Return on file. So let me just run this program and let's see what is the output of it. Let us run your program, and here we go. You can see what kind of exception is showing. So we have an exception in line number 16. This is the line number 16, out.write object p1. And what is the exception here? java.io.not serializable exceptions. So your class is not serialized, right? So in order to make, or in order to avoid random write operations on the file, you have to make your class as serialized. So how will you just make your class as serializable? So let me just move in the person class. So it is a mandatory and necessary to make your class and object or your class file as a serializable. Otherwise your data will not be stored in a sequence manner, and it will be very difficult to retrieve the object whenever you will perform some reading operations. So how will you just remove this kind of exceptions? You have to make your class person as a serializable. So how will you make it? Simply you will write public class person, and here you will implement the serializable interface, right? So let us implement this serializable interface. Let us save this program, come back to this writing object class, run it again. Let's see what is the output of it. So here you can see it is showing object is serialized and written to the file. So let us refresh this project and let's see the file is created or not. So you will refresh it, and here we go. You can see the person.dat file is there here. So whenever you will open this file, you will not be able to read this file, right? This data is present in the form of bytes and in the form of not readable format. So this is the way how can you just write your object on the file, right? So you can write multiple objects also in the similar way. Let me help you to understand how to just read this object from a file. So let me create one more class in order to perform some reading operations. You can write reading object is the name of a class, and this is also a main class. Now you will simply use a try with resource concept. So just I am writing this try with resource. So in order to just deserialized, or in order to just read the content from a file, right? Reading object. So you will simply use object input stream class, right? Object input stream class. We will create an object of this in is equal new object input stream, or inside it you will pass the object of new file input stream, and here you will pass the name of your file. The file name is person.dat. This file name is the name of that file where you would like to read the objects. Then you will just create a block, try block, and it will throw some exceptions. You will add just catch corresponding to it. It will throw two exceptions, file not found exceptions and input output exceptions. So how to perform some reading operations? So we have a function that in dot read function, right? Just wait a moment. In dot read object function, right? If you would like to read the object, so you will just use the read object function, and here it will return into an object of a person class, right? Person object one is equal in dot read object, and here let's see what compiler is complaining. Type mismatch error. You have to convert from object to a person, so you have to provide the type casting to a person class. So now this statement is fine, but again the compiler is complaining. Let's see what is the error here. So unhandled exceptions. So this function throw an exception of type class not found exceptions. So you can just surround it with a try or catch. So this is a file not, just wait a moment. So you can surround with try and catch. So it is showing this catch function, right? Class not found exceptions. Now what can you do after it, right? What can you do after it? Simply you can display a message object has been serialized, or you can just display that object. So let me display a message here. Sys out object is deserialized, and you can display this object like sys out. You can call the function like system.out.println. So please pardon me. Okay, so you will write sys out, and you can display the object like obj1, right? You will simply write obj1. So your program is completed, and let us save this program and let us run what is the output of it and how it is just deserialized. So right click on it, run as Java application, and here we go. You can see the object is deserialized and the data of object is this one. So guys, this is the way how can you write object on the file and how can you read object from a file. This process is known as the deserialization of objects. So in the similar way you can write or you can create multiple objects. For example, I will create one more object here, right? Object p2 is equal new person, and here the person name is like Amit, the age is like 32. Then you will write Amit123. This is the password, right? So here you can just use to display the object, that is p2, or you can write this object using the write object function, that is p2. Let us run this program and you will see what is the output of it. So here you can see these two objects has been serialized and written on a file. Let us move to the reading object.java. So how will you read it? In the similar way, you can read two different objects also, that is obj2 is equal read in dot read objects, or you can display both the objects here using this statement. So not this one, you can just paste it You can just copy this part or you can paste here and you can read object 2. Let us save this program and you will run it. You will see what is the output of. So here we go. You can see the objects is serialized and both objects data is this one. So guys, this is the way how can you just perform the serialization and deserialization operations. So here is one important thing is whenever, for example, you will go in the person class and you will do some small changes here, right? For example, private, you are making this string as a final. You are doing some little changes inside a class person, right? And you will just trying to read the objects. Let us run it and you will see here what kind of exception is there. Let us understand. So here you will see the serialization dot person local class incompatible and you will see the stream class serial version ID. So whenever the JVM will perform some serialization and deserialization operations on objects, so it creates some random serial number, right? This is the random serial number which will just make this, you know, class file as a unique. And you have performed some, writing operations inside a file, some changes you have done inside the file. So in order to just keep these changes or in order to just avoid this serial version ID, you have to just create a serial version ID inside a serializable or inside this person class, or this can be any random number. This is the random number, so I will just copy this random number and I will write this random number in order to make these objects serializable. So this random number is kind of private to the file and it is a static and it is the final also, private static final you will write. So I will just close it and this is a kind of long, right? And you will just display this number. Serial version ID is this one. You can just copy it and you can put here. You will save your program and let us run this and you will see what is the output of it, right? You can put this L here in order to just make it correct. You will save it and you will go to the reading objects. Let us run this program again. Let's see this error will come or not. So here you can see the objects are serialized and it is performing well, right? It is performing well. There is no exceptions and there is no problem. So what is the meaning of the serialization here? Whenever the objects are written on the files, so objects must be in a serial manner. The object will be in a sequence. Otherwise, there will be a problem while reading the object from a file. And if you will do some operations, you will do some changes inside a person class, it will show some exceptions related to the serial version ID, that is the unique ID and the private to a particular class which is created by the Java virtual machine in order to recognize an objects or a class individually. So this is the way how can you fix this error, right? How can you fix this error? So this is the way you can fix. If you will just get that type of errors, you can fix using this way. So guys, I hope you understand the concept of serialization of objects and the deserialization of objects. So guys, thanks for watching this video. In the next session, we will come up with a new interesting concepts video. Bye bye for now. Have a great day.